Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. How are you doing? It's Way T Lightheart with the Prosperity and Health Alliance. And tonight we're here featuring a very special presentation because there's a lot of questions about this particular topic. It's called How to Use the Internet to Build Your Business. There's a lot of confusion out there in the world today and out there in the Enagic world today about the internet, what it can do, what it can't do, how you go about building a business, how you go about growing a business. And I have, I've got involved with this whole internet thing for a long time. I got introduced to the internet way back in 2004 when a friend of mine told me that he was making money online. And I thought that was just the craziest thing ever. I didn't even own a computer at the time. And I learned a little bit about that through him. We were able to go on and build a nutrition company, which many of you know and love, Bioptimizer, which has been awesome, still running today after 13 years. And I learned a lot. But what was interesting is we were doing a lot of things, but I learned a lot about, but that doesn't mean I knew it in depth. And then when I got involved in Enagic, they didn't really have any internet presence to say at all in '07. In fact, we just had like little burned CDs. That's how ancient we're talking about how things were doing back then. But over the years, there has been a lot of developments, and I had one of the first lead generation distributors on one of my early endeavors. That was about 5-6 years ago. Started off really, really strong. We had some issues with the company and stuff, and then a number of other people have tried it. There's been a bunch of websites that come up. There's a bunch of different things. And now we go into, there's some people doing very well doing lead generation. But that doesn't mean that everybody's going to. And also there is stages in the game of the internet. And I think this is something that a lot of people aren't really talking about. And we're going to talk about it tonight because it's basically how do you use the internet to build your business, but how do you maybe not make the mistakes that a lot of people do by setting themselves up with what I call false expectations. So let's dive into it, this important topic. And of course, like all calls, we'll be taking your questions and answers at the end, so look forward to hearing from you. So let's get there we go. So first and foremost, you need to build a strategy based on where you're at. If you're just starting out in the Enagic business and maybe you've just bought in your $5,000 or $10,000, whatever your cash expenditure is, and this is the business that you're going to do, you have to look at what's my strategy based on where I'm at? What's my budget? And that's both time and that's money. And how much am I willing to commit to that in order to produce a result that turns a profit? When you start marketing online, especially if you start getting into advertising costs and things like that, you better have a solid strategy because you're competing against the best marketers in the world. And I think a lot of people get started in this business and they set themselves up. They think they're going to make a lot of money online. They invest a lot of money on top of their Enagic business, and they wind up disappointed and disillusioned because they don't do the basics. They don't work their business based on where you're at. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through a couple of things that you can do if you're just getting started, or if you're in the medium range, or you're really serious about taking the next step in building a really world-class online funnel because it's now kind of worth your while financially. So what does that look like? For some reason, my little thing doesn't want to click tonight. Anyways, so basically, I've broken it down to 5 stages of internet marketing. This is related to Enagic and how we do things. So what is the first stage? Well, the first stage that you can use is YouTube presentations. Oftentimes, you might be in a place that doesn't have a group, doesn't have a leader, doesn't have regular presentations and stuff. And in this case, I would highly recommend using YouTube for presentations. And what I mean by that is don't you put up the YouTube presentation. Use one of the great presentations that are out there, ones by Bob Gridelli, or use one of the ones by any one of the doctors, or some of the short and down and dirty ones, 20 minutes. There's a lot of different ones out there. Go out there and Google all of the top people in Enagic, and whether it's Shan Stratton or whether it's Eli or Romy, or if it's any of those guys, if you want to use Daniel D. McCauley's presentation, and watch them, and watch all of the watch a bunch of different presentations. First, if you see the information over a bunch of times, you kind of pick up little nuances and things and things that resonate with you, and that's going to help you with your presentations. But while you're learning, you can be showing these presentations to other people, and that counts as a presentation. And oftentimes that person is going to do a way better presentation to you. And if you're watching a presentation with your prospect, they're in this with you. They're watching it with you. So it's not you presenting to them. It's like going to the movies, and you're watching and learning together, and then you can discuss about it, and then you can share your story or what's going on. That's a really easy way, and I think an underused way, to build a great business. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't need to do a presentation. You don't have to be good at presentations. You can just pick the presentation relative to the person. You want a sports presentation, do Shan Stratton. You want a business presentation, do Danny McCauley. You want something on a particular health topic, maybe you want to do Corinne Allen. There's all different ones out there, and as you get to know the different presentations, you can leverage the right presentation for your prospect based on where they're at and what might interest them the most. So the mistake that people make is a lot of people try and do their own. They try and reinvent the wheel. They spend a lot of time, energy, and money figuring out how to do a YouTube, load it up, do all this sort of stuff, and it's an okay presentation. So why not watch and learn while you're presenting right away to 40, 50, 60 people? And here's the best part. When someone else sees that you're using a YouTube presentation, guess what? They go, I can do that too. Bobby Cudelli built his whole business doing this. He did hundreds and hundreds of presentations by putting a CD in it. Back then we didn't have the YouTube. They put a CD in a DVD player and played it while he made water for people. And he made millions of dollars doing that. So why can't you? That's a simple strategy for using the internet. I think the second stage of using the internet is using a contact management system for your emails, your texts, and your phone calls. You know what? The best people in this industry set up some form of tracking right from the get-go. So this way, you are not shooting arrows in the dark. A lot of people say, oh, I talked to a bunch of people and it's not working. They think it's too pricey or whatever. Look, how many people did you really reach out to? And how many times did you follow up with those people? And how are you tracking? Are you committed? Are you doing your 25 texts a week? Are you following up on those 25 texts? Are you hitting them up with 5, 6, 7 times before they buy? Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to need somewhere between 5 and 12 contact points for them to make a buying decision. This is a significant buying system. And when you have a contact management system, it manages it, it gives you real numbers, and you start to see results. You get, well, okay, I sold 3 machines on 25 texts, and 25 texts. I followed up with 15 of those people over the course of 6 weeks, and out of those original ones, I got 3 sales. So now you know that you need 25 people. You need to reach out to 25 people. You need to follow up for approximately 6 weeks to make 3 sales. Well, once you know that, then all you need to do, if you want to make more sales than that, you go, well, I just need to up it to 50 people or 75 or whatever. And you go, well, I can't do that. Well, yes, you can. It's just a question of reducing it down to the numbers. And sending those texts, making those phone calls, and setting those appointments. And a content management system is what works. In the old days, they used to say, hey, make a list, write it down, all that, and that's fine. But you probably have all this stuff in your phone right now, and with a simple contact system, you can put it in and manage it. Very, very simple format. And one of the things that I like to use for my personal agenda stuff is I use a management system called Kanban tools. And that's more than just a contact management, because at this stage in the business, I have a lot more than just reaching out to contacts. I'm dealing with other distributors. I'm dealing with events, putting on these things. So for me, it's a more robust system. You might use something else. There's a lot of different ones out there. Experiment with the one that you like. I hate to give recommendations sometimes because I've noticed that there's a wide variance in what people like to use. Now, this is where I think the rubber hits the road. And as your business scales up, and when I mean scales up, this is when you get to a point by maybe say 4A. By 4A, you're going to start to find that it's easy to start losing contact with people or not following up in a timely manner, especially if you got a full-time job or maybe a family and things like that. And this is where an autoresponder campaign can really, really follow up. Now, of course, they have the EWS one that you can just get and go and follow up with your campaigns. That's a great one. And I highly recommend it for those who want to get started. That's a great way to keep in contact. There are forms and features like MailChimp and Aweber. I like to use Aweber. Of course, all you guys are on the Aweber list that are getting this. And that's a great one for keeping up to date and connecting with your people, telling them about events, sharing little tidbits about the water, talking about maybe little trainings that are come up, these sort of things. That's how I keep in contact with my organization. Their autoresponders are relatively cheap, a few $100 a year, and you can add your contacts in there and you keep in the flow. You can remind them about Christmas promotions, filter stuff, all kinds of different things inside of that. We've been using that at the Prosperity and Health Alliance for a number of years. And believe me, it makes my life easier. You think about it, you write one email, one short message, and if you've got 50 people, like let's say that took you 15 minutes to write that email, well, guess what? You've got 50 minutes times 50 people. So now you just leverage, what's that, 750 minutes of training. 750 minutes of work you've been able to do with that autoresponder, and that's time efficient. Same thing if you're doing a presentation. So let's say you have a video that you really like. You can click that video, a little short video, and send that out to everybody. Let's say that's a 10-minute video and you got 50 people on your list. You just did 500 minutes of work by doing that. And so that's a really, really great way. And it's a very cost-effective way to get. And I call that's kind of like the third stage. Now, here's where things, and some people might do this sooner as opposed to later, depending on how comfortable you are with the technology. But I got to say, team training, like we're doing tonight, Zoom pitches. So if the Zoom is a contact, Zoom.us is a webinar format that allows you to connect with your team members, see them on video. You could do presentations. It's very easy to use. It sends great links. You can set up auto times. It's very, very simple. What I call a very user-friendly site and not that expensive. Zoom is an amazing site to start doing your pitches without having to travel anywhere. You get online with someone, hey, just jump on Zoom, send them a link, they get on. It's easy. They can ask you questions and get back and forth. Of course, we use GoToWebinars, which we run this on, is another one that you can use for online webinars and seminars. Pitching online it's a little different in person, but I think with Zoom it makes it as close to being in person as possible. The online webinars like this, these are great for creating something that's you're going to use it and just turn it out there, and it's going to be kind of evergreen out there. We'll put it on YouTube. Maybe you're going to put it on Facebook Live. You can do Facebook Live if you're comfortable with that, or seminars on the product or doing the demonstrations. All of those things, what I call is a level 4. And what I mean by level 4 is what you need to be is, number one, you need to be a good presenter. You need to know how to present in a way that's timely, to ask the right questions and all that stuff. Secondly, you want to be professional. You want to make it so that you can turn it on and you can use this in the future. You want to do it once and then use it over and over and over again. And for seminars, those can be very great, especially if you got a team that's around, like away from you or in other cities. And I do believe that for team training, this is one of the most effective ways. Not everybody can make it to the webinar, but they can go on there, check it out later on time zone. I know we've got people all over the world on the Prosperity and Health Alliance, so we have people checking in at all the times, and it's really nice. And then you get to find out, you can track to see which videos, which things are more important, and then you can ask your team. You can ask your team, what's the most important things? Now you can do a team training, record it, and then store it. And by the way, we have a lot of those already done for you at the Prosperity and Health Alliance. If you go to the Prosperity and Health Alliance and you go to the training library, there's all the YouTube videos of all the trainings on just about every topic you can manage. So For your team, you don't even need to do that. You can just refer to that link, and you might do a team training of just showing people how to use those in your business. We've built this for everybody in Enagic. Everybody can use it. We don't charge anything for it. We do this for free, and it'll start teaching you. And then if you're going to get into Zoom pitches, learn how to pitch. It's well worth it. I took some courses, like things like Train the Trainer, Selling for the Stage, Great a Speaker. I read a lot of books on sales. Jordan Belfort's Straight Line Persuasion, Zig Ziglar, See at the Top, Secrets of Closing Sales, all these different, I'm constantly reading. In fact, I usually read at least one sales book every quarter to brush up on my skills because things are changing. And that's what really is going to separate you from being good to great, and from you going from feeling uncomfortable about selling to being excited. And we should be excited about sharing the product, and you need to be able to transfer that in a way online that's very important. Now, finally, level 5. Level 5 is what I call the ultimate level. And eventually, when you get in your business, you're going to find a point in time where you're going to have it, and you're going to run out of people. And this is what separates the people that go to 6A to the people that go to -3 and beyond, is their ability to generate leads consistently over time. That's the key. And more people are going online today. And some of the things that they use, easy ones to use, is things like LinkedIn and YouTube. Those are easy ones. It gets a little bit more complicated if you go to Facebook ads or Google ads or these type of things. And of course, you run into some issues. You can't pitch directly for Enagic and use their terminology. So you gotta know your stuff. You gotta do some research. You gotta find out about the policies and procedures in Enagic, what you can do, what you can't do, and you're gonna need some expertise. You are going to have to learn how to build a capture page that gets that contact, that converts them into a hot lead, and that you have a system in place to follow up so that when they're ready to make a buying decision, you're there to help that. And that is when you build a sales funnel, a sales campaign. And if you can do this, you can do great. And there's a few teams out there that are doing this, and they're doing a great job at it. In fact, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Some opportunities are going to come up. You can actually see what they're doing very soon. But this is a very this is not for the faint of heart. You are going to have to invest some serious time and money if you're going to go after serious lead generation. Yes, you can do some posts on Facebook and you can do some things like that. But the reality is you're going to get a little bit of traction on that from maybe the people that you know, and some of them are going to be annoyed with you. Some of them are going to be excited about it. But in the end, that's not a lead generation strategy. Okay, a lead generation strategy is when you're specifically targeting groups of people and you're going after them with a message that is going to help them, that is impactful, that is clear, that is concise. And this is marketing. And then you can do this through other social media outlets as well, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram or something like that. And there's different ones for different folks. And you've got to be able to pick what you're going to do. But how do you do that? I mean, the reality is if you're going in that route, you're competing against the best marketers on the planet. And to be competitive in that, you're going to need to raise your skills. And I think you can do it if you want to go there in Enagic, but recognize, set aside, okay, I'm going to spend a year on this. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to spend, this is my budget. And you need to get a coach in that to help you along the way, in my opinion. I think that if you're trying to go nail this out of, reinvent the wheel or try the hard, chances are, unless you're a professional internet marketer or you've got a great system that you're borrowing from one, you're going to have a hard time with this one. And I'm not saying it not to do that. I'm just trying to share with you that this is a key component if you're going to go into the online world. So let's talk about that. Why do people fail? Why do people fail in their online business? There's so many people that think, oh man, I just put up a website and I'm going to be successful, or I'm going to put up a Facebook page and I'm going to be successful. And okay, there's occasionally you hear about someone do, but most of the people I've met at all these events, and I'm going to all these events all the time, they're spending a lot of hours on strategies, on videos, on building funnels and testing and split testing and doing headlines and copywriting, and they're learning a lot of skills. Now, when they hit it big, no doubt about it. But here's why most people fail. Number one, they do what I call the amateur fire hose strategy on Facebook. They get on Facebook, they start screaming about Kangen, they start telling people they're dying because they're drinking the bad water and that they're a loser because they have, like, I've seen it all, right? And they just kind of go crazy for a little while and alienate their friends and all that sort of stuff. There's an artful way to do it, and there is an amateur way to do it. And so if you're going to go out there, read some books, watch some courses. I'm going to refer to some things of how to market, package, present yourself in a proper way. Build a strategy. Don't just go randomly shotgunning out onto the internet about what's going on, because you could turn people off quickly that would have maybe bought a product had it been a little bit better thought out. The next thing, I think they try level 5 strategies too soon. They get started with the machine. They don't even know how the machine hooks up. They don't know the compensation program. They don't know how to do a presentation, and they're out there trying to buy leads on a Facebook or a Google AdWords campaign or something like that, and they're in the filming in a studio and trying to do a presentation when there's already ones up there, and they haven't even built their list. They haven't even hooked up on who they're going to contact or anything. So I think a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot because they try to go too big too soon, and they don't get the basics. And the basics is you've got to know how the product works. You got to have some basic sales skill. You need to be comfortable setting up a machine, doing a demonstration, sharing the water, sharing your story, all those things that Eric Worre talks about in Network Marketing Pro. And then once you've got that down, now you're ready to start spending the time on those upper level strategies. Another thing is inconsistent. Listen, here's what people just start dabbling with a bunch of different things, hope and stick. And if you're going to win this war, you need to build a campaign. And what is a campaign? Well, a campaign is a series of thought out marketing strategies implemented over a long period of time. In other words, you say, okay, I'm going to be 6A 2-3, let's say that's your goal. I want to make that. So that's going to take me, say, 5 years. I've given myself 5 years or a 10-year timeline. Well, now I am going to build a campaign that is going to be committed 365 days a year. You're going to be doing something each and every, like, we didn't start the Prosperity and Health Alliance and stop. We didn't do it first off either. We did that when it warranted from my business. I couldn't deal with so many people in my organization, so I needed a way to teach and do what I was doing locally on a global level. And we are here every single week. Oh, sometimes we blow up or we have an internet problem, but basically we're here every week, and you're getting messages from us every week about various things and events, and the autoresponder campaign takes care of people when they get started. That's very, very important. So it's consistent. In other words, if you can commit to once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, like, Danny DiMacaulay does his global campaign once a month per year. Eli DeFesh does his call on Saturday mornings every time. He's been doing this for a decade. All of the top leaders have a consistent campaign that goes out, and you'll be surprised. You get people 4, 5 years, 6 years down the road come back and buy a machine from you. Happens to everybody. All my friends, almost all my friends, have water machines. Not all of them, but almost all of them. And I have fun with the ones that don't. 4, they use old, outdated online tactics taught from the past with cheap and ineffective programs trying to save money. Spelled that wrong. This is a big thing. Listen. What the internet is changing at the speed of thought. So what was working 5 years ago is not working now. What was working 3 years ago is not working now. So you've got to be up to speed, you've got to be current, and you've got to hit it out of the gate. Now, if you've got a campaign, you can keep tweaking until you're successful, and then you can stay current by keeping yourself current in what's the latest and greatest in marketing. But that's a full-time thing. Like, you're going to have to invest some time, energy, and money to stay up to date on that sort of stuff. It's well worth it, but don't cheap out on yourself. Cheap is not always better. Better's better. One of the things I incorporated recently was pay twice as much. It'll cost you less. And think about that. And what's Wade mean? And what I'm saying is, if you're going to invest in yourself, invest in yourself. Buy the best thing that you possibly can. Better to pick one great product a year, or one great course a year, or one great event a year, than doing 15 ones freebies on the net that you got for nothing. You need to pick a great event and a great marketer. I'm going to talk about some of those in just a moment. Finally, what's the final reason? People aren't willing to invest in themselves or go through the cost of lead generation and the learning curve it entails. And what do I mean by that is this. If you're going to be successful, no matter how great your campaign is, at the heart of this whole thing is you need to be able to sell yourself, sell your product, sell your company. And to the degree that you are able to do that in an efficient and eloquent way that makes people feel good about themselves and makes you feel good about yourself is going to determine whether or not you can stick in this business or any other business. The heart of every business is sales. And I like to say serviceful sales. Sales is not a negative connotation. When you are providing people information and education on how to choose a product like we promote the life-changing technology. This is a service. This is selling for service. The preacher at your church, he is a salesman. He's selling you on having a spiritual path. And that's a great thing. The teacher is selling people on the importance of an education. The news is selling you on the importance of paying attention to what's going on in politics or whatever's happening in the world. All of these things are forms of selling. So a lot of people have a negative connotation about selling. They don't have a negative connotation about selling. They have a negative connotation about poor selling. If you've been to an event, maybe you've been to a restaurant, maybe you've been to a clothing store, maybe you went to a hotel, maybe it's something, you can probably think right now, think back to someone who gave you outstanding service and that you paid a premium dollar for that, and then you went out there and told all your friends about it later on. Everybody's had one of those. You're thinking about it right now. Well, think about that. Well, that's what we can do. And if you can create an experience about that, a serviceful selling, then guess what? You are going to create those experiences for people, and they're going to be happy to purchase machines from you and to refer their friends. And that is the ultimate level that you want to get to. So invest in yourself, invest in your ability to sell and to learn the skill set of selling. Finally, if you are going to go into a lead generation campaign, set a budget, commit to it, and stick to it over the learning curve, because you're going to take some losses at the first. It's going to take some time to get some traction if you're doing some form of AdWords campaign. Now, let's talk about what I call the internet marketing power move. Look, there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people that are talking about internet. There's a lot of people that are just making money by selling you how to make money online. I've listed 4 people here, and I've been to their events. I'm actually personal friends with 3 of the people on this list, the last 3, and we're working on Brendan. We'll get there. Brendan Burchard's Experts Academy, I think that is a fantastic event to go to about how to brand and promote, package, and partner with your product and your service, and to really understand marketing and people. It's a fun event. It's like 4 days. I usually run them in San Francisco a couple times a year. It will really give you an inside look of how to become a world-class presenter. And he has some other courses. I think they're affordably priced. He's got a lot of energy. They're fun events. They're clean events. And Brendan's a great guy. And I've been to a lot of events, and I've been to his World's Greatest Speaker. I've been to his High Performance Academy. I've been to Experts Academy, his Total Product Blueprint. I bought a lot of his stuff, and I think he does a great job, and he's got a great heart. Phenomenal guy. Check that out. He's got a lot of free stuff online, a lot of courses online. He's got a lot of things that you can use online that will work for you. By the way, that was just my mom in the background here. I'm down here visiting her on the holidays. So hi, Mom. We'll say hi to everybody. There she is. Awesome. Now, Stefan Pirlanos, another friend of mine, he's got a course out there. You can look him up, Project Life Mastery. He also is a proud Enagic Kangen water machine owner. He has them in his beautiful penthouse in Vancouver, and I was just hanging out with Stefan the other day. He's got a lot of great stuff and a lot of free stuff. If you want to know how to start in the internet marketing world from rags to riches and really build a product around there, Stefan's a great guy. He's got some great high energy stuff, and I highly recommend Stefan's stuff. If you want to go to the next level and really drill down in your business, look up another guy, another fellow Monctonite here. His name is Dan Martell. He was speaking at Keith Yackey's Amplify event, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, but Dan is a business wizard, and he's a great guy, and he offers a lot of amazing free content. If you just look up danmartell.com and check out his information, the services he's offered, Dan is just an amazing guy on how to think about your business, and he really strips away all of the BS that's in our brains and gets you down to brass tacks and how to make the numbers work and how to make your marketing work. Phenomenal guy, and just a great fellow. Hopefully we're going to get a chance to hang out with him here in the next week. Finally, another good friend of mine. He's been successful in at least a half a dozen different areas. I mean, flipping houses. He's been a rock star. He's an online internet marketer. He's a singer. I mean, this guy is a tour de force. His name is Keith Yackey. In fact, I met him for my very first online business. I was his first online coach, and he went off and became a multimillionaire multiple times over in different areas. And he's put together a really unique event. It's called Amplify, and it's about how to own your niche and how to really own your market. And the good news is it's coming up real soon, and I am going to be moderating a panel of people who are marketing on the internet and people who are marketing in the Enagic business and are successful. So Keith, first off, it's not like any event you ever had. It's kind of like a rock concert. It's in an amphitheater in the SLS hotel in Las Vegas. Fun group of people. Keith's an amazing guy. He's entertaining. It's like not like any of these boring seminars that you've ever been to. People are jacked up. They're having a great time, and it's a lot of fun. And I got some great news for you, for people who want to go. August 11th to 13th, I know it's short notice, 2017 in Las Vegas. You can get some free tickets to Keith Yackey's Amplify event. And this is basically how to become an expert, own your niche, build an online sales funnel, the whole 9 yards. The event's from August 11th to 13th, 2017 in Las Vegas. Click on this link below, and maybe, Kimmy, if you can add this, I don't know if you can do this, if you can add this to the show notes. But here's the great thing. This is what I say. What people do is they get a $97 ticket, and Keith is going to give you your money back when you show up. So it's free. You can't get, in the kind of event that he puts on, it's really, really awesome. Oh yeah, so they got Lewis House last year. Gary Vaynerchuk was speaking. Nick Kuzmich, the guy that has a social media for Tony Robbins and a whole lot of top people. Dan Martell was speaking there last year. Pete Vargas, we're going to be seeing there. Kimmy and I are going to be there hanging out with Pete and Keith and all that, so we'll get a chance to meet up, and there's going to be some really, really world-class people. And what's great is they just pour their heart out. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk was just throwing down gold last year and doing this for free. I mean, to get these people, some of these people, it's $100,000 to have them show up to your event, and you're going to get all that for free. So you're going to spend obviously some time to Vegas, and there's some events that are going on, but it's a great event. You get to hobnob with some people, and you're going to find out what the top internet marketers in Enagic are doing. So don't miss that event. And let's see if we can get this link posted up for you. In the meantime, we're going to, that's all I got to say. Just come out to this event, commit to your growth. If you can't make it to that, pick the other events. Check out all those guys we put out on there, and see what happens. Take the time, look at building a campaign, build a market for yourself, and you can do very well in internet. But make sure you're in the right stage at the right time in your business. So with that, we're going to take some questions.